Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM21. It's career mode. This is episode 123. We are in for, hopefully, a triple header today of Punchy classics. We begin with Amstel Gold, and for this one, there's plenty of undulation along the way. What's special about this race, besides just being a punchy finish, is how long it is with that constant undulation, which means there's a lot of climbing involved, but it's a short, punchy climb at the finish. So you do need a combination of climbing ability, but then you need to have that punch for the finish itself. But today in particular, first off, the weather is just nasty. It is pouring down rain. It's terrible. None of my riders had this targeted as an objective. None of them are on a fitness peak, and so the team is, well, less than stellar for what we're going to get today. But to add to the challenge that is nasty weather is how gusty the wind is. We're going 40 kilometers per hour as a constant wind speed, and with a course that just wraps around and around and around on itself. And you can see right now we're up at 45 kph. For that, you're spending 3/4 of your time at either a headwind or a crosswind of some kind. The tailwind is only expected to be about a quarter of the time on this one, which means you're facing a nasty situation almost continuously throughout this thing. And as a result, there's a lot of extra fatigue. And oh, yeah, let's add one more wrench to the spokes of this one, and that is the fact that the breakaway, which at 6 riders is not a tiny breakaway, was given nearly 9-minute advantage. So with a nearly 9-minute advantage, that is a lot of time for the Peloton to make up. Now, of course, you have a lengthy Amstel Gold race, so a lot of kilometers, which plays into stamina ratings of riders. And of course, CFC is our one really solid guy in that department, but he's on a -2 race day condition and playing the role of domestique today. We are close enough to go ahead and get water one final time now, so we've measured that one out well, and it hasn't gotten crazy yet, where we're able to get that done this last time without being too far gone. You see the Peloton's already shrinking. I mean, it's already down under 140 riders. Riders going off the back, mostly on merit. I'm sure some of that has come down to some crashes. I would assume today a crash is going to do you in. You're done. You're not going to get back up there if you suffer from a crash or a puncture this late in the race. We're pushing 80, and these guys are struggling to keep up at this point.
Now the guys up front are asking serious questions of the riders
That's a serious issue,
and
we're going to have to start with almost 40k. We're going to have to start pushing because you can see how quickly we are dropping backwards. So let's go ahead and do a couple things here. One, let's push up to about an 83. Sakaguchi, Wakira, it's already a little late for him. Sift-C. Okay, the main domestiques of the day, they're going to need to... Ooh, hello, splits. Okay, it's back together. That's good. Momentarily, anyway. We really need to get these guys back up in position soon. Let's take a moment, see how far back everybody is. Okay, Wakira is the furthest back, and then you have Sift-C and Jurcevic. Jurcevic needs to push even harder to get back up there. He's got plenty of energy. We have been conservative for these guys, but we need to make up some ground. And Jurcevic, let's make up that ground now. 30k, big climb coming. The Kottenberg, it's only 600 meters, but it's 15%. Reality is it's more than that, because the left-hand turn at the intersection starts like this and then goes like this. And you see just how quickly this is splitting this field up, as we're seeing multiple groups here. And we've got some work to do to get back into position. In fact, this is not looking good, because we are on the major back ends of this split. Petrov, Petrov, the best climber here. How is he so far back? He's the 79. Nah. Silly game. Rolling it down. I hate how it does that. Yeah, we really missed out on the splits on that climb, despite these guys doing the 83-85 type thing. Really surprised about Petrov, though, right? Gonzalez Albiol, good climber. Igashin and Yurcevic, good punchers, but not very good climbers. You shouldn't be surprised to see them drift backward. Should be surprised to see Petrov. Petrov with the 79 mountain, 76 hills should not have drifted that far back and be this low on energy. Let's see if we can't get him back up there. Sifsy's got nothing left in the tank though, so this is Petrov just kind of making the move. There's only a couple significant climbs left to come. We're back into an A1, A3 situation. It's no longer A4 at least, but Petrov, not sure how much more he's going to gain. Yurcevic was dropped there. Gonzalez Albiol and Igashin probably looking like our best hope, but Petrov is not done yet. Let's go ahead and gel up early. I thought he might be our best chance today, but not looking good on that front. Let's go 90, try to make up some ground. Okay, and likewise, Yurcevic, puncher, so punch.
The riders are in a portion above 10%.
These guys are back in the front group. So, Gonzalez Albiol, push, pull Igashin along, so don't get dropped here. Petrov making up a lot of ground. He's almost up to Yurcevic. Alright. So, oh, there's a little split right there. Main contenders going clear. Gonzalez Albiol is in that gap, but Igashin is not really on his wheel very well. How are we looking back here? Yurcevic, Petrov, they're out of it. These guys are totally out of it. Too far back with just 18k to go. They're not going to bridge that gap. This is back together, though. 40 riders left in contention, and we're still in it. We are nowhere near the favorites list on this. And Gonzalez Albiol pulls us forward and can now sit up. He will lead out Igashin when the time comes. I would love to see this back group come back, but they're a minute 15 behind. They are A2, and there's only one rider in between. And Yurcevic is the one pulling, but Petrov's done. I really would rather them not pull back at this point, as those guys are essentially out of it. 13k to go. A little hill coming up. Not much of a climb to this one. Champion is just pulling at the front, so we don't need to worry about that. And Gonzalez Albiol just pull through this hill a little bit. Go ahead and gel up. 11k to go. This is why we made this move, because that was expected.
And it's an attack by Benoit,
and we needed to be able to respond.
10 kilometers
Thing
to the finish
is
line.
we're trying to save Igashin for the finish, and Gonzalez Albiol is now done. Set him to protect
You see that?
as
You
well
can read
as
the
he
pain on
can.
the faces at the back of the peloton. There's a growing number of
Okay,
riders
position's
left
good.
behind.
Let them do the work. These guys are much stronger. Pull back those three, please. Hopefully. And it's back together. Okay, 30 riders. 6.7k. Prove your position here. Another attack coming. This could be a winner.
And he moves on to the attack. It could be decisive.
It absolutely could be a winner. And look how quickly we went to the very back end of the group. One rider has linked up. Oh, poor Sakaguchi. Sorry, bud. Helped ruin your race. Down to 22 as 9 are off the back. Gonzalez Albiol fading to join, and it's down to 21 now. Okay, Igashin, though, not in a great position and not with a lot of energy left. Ease up, ease up, ease up. Okay, last descent, setting up the final climb. Trying to keep position here. Setting it up, setting it up, setting it up. Okay, now we make that final push. But we are not in great shape here, so this is going to be kind of a survival thing.
With several riders on the ground. We can only
500
hope that they all
meters.
get back
We're
on.
at the very, very,
This
very,
climb features
very
some
back
dreadful
end of this.
percentages.
Okay, sprinted out for the finish line. He's going to be top 20. We are ahead of one rider. Can we get a spot or two better, at least? Pidcock, Hayter, the favorites right on top. Romano, Alaphilippe, Hershey, Cosnefroy. It's the strongest punchers in the top 8. I mean, the whole group. And then from there, we beat 2 guys to get 19th.
We're waiting for the back
We beat
markers
Craig
who appear to be
Anderson,
fairly
and we
numerous in this
beat
difficult race.
whoever that last one is that drifted off. And then you got 5 guys that emerged out of the chase group, beating Gonzalez Albiol, who was 22nd there for a little while. He slips to 30th. We get 19th. But what I needed was Petrov. I needed Petrov up there. Not Yurcevic, not Igashin. They're not strong enough climbers. They're barely tolerable punchers. I don't know why Petrov faded so fast. We were trying to conserve energy when things split up that earlier, and Gonzalez Albiol held things just fine. Igashin and Yurcevic, who are weak climbers, held things just fine. Petrov went backwards. Well, Yurcevic was split off too, but not in the same way. Not sure what happened with Petrov there. He might have been caught behind somebody going backwards. He should have had enough energy usage to, slip back a little, but he shouldn't have slipped back so much further compared to his teammates. And that cost us a better finish. We're never going to compete with that top 8, 10 guys, but we might have been able to squeeze our way into a top 10 anyway, instead of just squeezing into the top 20. Okay, so we are now on Fleche Wallonne, and for this one, we've had some odd mistakes happening here by the AI as the field is yo-yoing. Kyokovci went to get water when everything was bunched up and nice, and we were almost not even 100 meters from the top of the Mer de Huy is when I started to send him back. 50 meters later, he was basically standing still up the Mer de Huy and suddenly was a kilometer behind the front of the race. He came to a virtual stop. So Kyokovci was well off the back by that point. And then, as we went a little bit further, the field had split multiple times in that last 100 meters up the Mer de Huy. And so Gonzalez Albiol, who was now suddenly the furthest rider back, I said, okay, I need water. I can't wait. As Yurcevic here and Igashin, both our top 2 punchers, did drift backwards over these previous climbs, possibly ruling themselves out and setting us up for Petrov Karaman strike on the finish, but of course they missed out, and we do need to this time around up the effort that these guys are going to put in. Petrov -5 race take condition, which is just ridiculous. Gonzalez Albiol, for some reason, still feels that he can bring water forward, even though he quit the task a while ago, and suddenly he's back up to it again. He got Petrov anyway. Things split. Gonzalez Albiol decided he wanted to go all the way back behind Kyokovci, even though he already had water. He had water, he was going forward, and then he decided to go backwards. And kept going backwards, and he went all the way behind Kyokovci, 2 groups back of where he was. I told you, it was behaving quite weirdly. And then, I don't know. I don't know. Petrov has water. Karaman does not. Narbutas got dropped, and he has water now. Petrov just hanging on here. Anyway, we've got 30K to go. Karaman, our leader, never got water. He's the guy we're relying on today. The breakaway had a huge advantage. It's down to a minute. Karaman, thirsty with 25K to go, but what can I do? This is suddenly considered a breakaway group instead of the front group. I guess the favorite missed out. Petrov can't get Karaman water, And Karaman, I really don't want him getting it, but he's desperate for it. He's not going to make it all the way to the end. Let's wait for this climb, and I don't know, do I attack for a second and then get water? I think that's a good plan. Attack, get off the front. Petrov's blocking me, and now somebody else is blocking me, but if we can get off the front for just a fraction of a second, there you go. We can instead get water. Hand up. And he got water. And now we just maintain position. There you go. I used a hair bit of red bar instead of having it go from the back to the front. I went to the off the front to get that. And we've split off whoever the front of the field is again. We are at the front. We've got 15K to go. For now, we just hang on and climb at our pace.
By many riders, the percentages are very high.
And we are very much in it. And this time around, we are better off with somebody who is a strong climber and actually our best puncher on the squad. It's not a 77, it's a 78. He's got a +1 today.
10 kilometers to the finish line.
Penultimate climb. Climb at your pace, Karaman. I don't want you drifting back, but I also don't want you missing out on these guys going off. There you go. They do not. But we're seeing a late push from Vliegen, and no, he is just pushing tempo. We're okay. Group thinning out a little bit. 40 riders left. Jorgensen, there's Pidcock. All the favorites are here again. So all the guys with the 85s, 83s, 82s, and then, you know, we're down there with a 78. So don't expect fireworks on the finish on this one, as we're down to 34. But I think Karaman's going to do better than a top 20.
5 kilometers to the finish line.
How much better can he do, though, is a big ask. Gel and push. Do not get dropped here. Murdahui come in last time. Get that gap. There you go. Karaman in a decent position here. And this time we want to push a little harder as we approach that final climb. And here we go, up the Murdahui. 1.5K. Don't sprint. 1.2K. Wow, look how much faster these guys are than we are. Okay, now we make our way back forward as some of them push a little too hard. It's still 900 meters. This is not over. This is why you can't just attack. Now it's 500 meters. Now we attack for the line. Do we have a top 10? It's close. I think we're going to be top 15. Red bar is gone, so yes. Jorgensen has taken the win ahead of Hayter and Fisher Black. Alaphilippe Romano round out the top 5. There's your top 10, and we will get a top 15 just. Right behind Vanderpool, 15th with Karaman. Considering how many riders, the entire top 10 were all 82 plus in hill ratings. That's how insane this field is right now, how deep this database is right now, that there are more than 10 riders at one race with an 82 or better in hill rating, where our best rating at all, excluding that recovery, which is just deceiving, and the main reason why Karaman has an embellished average rating. His mountain rating's an 81. That's his best attribute. Usable, useful attribute. Recovery is not much better than bare door rating. Though, of course, this year they made your recovery rating important. But we already saw previously with Karaman that even with a really high recovery, late in a Grand Tour, you're still getting your butt kicked, where everybody else seems to be doing just fine. And the end to our trio of punchy classics is Liege-Bastogne-Liege. For this one, the Peloton is already shrinking just as we're hitting the first of the real part of the race. This one is another lengthy one, but there's a lot of empty kilometers at the front end. This is where everything intensifies with a lot of lengthier climbs compared to the other two before it, which means your mountain rating could play a bigger role today than it has in the previous ones. But also, unlike the previous two, this one does not finish on a climb. Finishes on the flat. Finishes with a descent prior to the flat. And the undulation eases off a little bit, so it's very much a different race than the other two were before it. We do need to get water still one more time. Kikovchi has been the guy for that, but he is already done. And Narbutas, I don't know why, he's lost contact with whoever he was protecting. I'm assuming that's Igashin. Get him back onto that task here. And Kikovchi and Gonzalez Albiol already -5, -3 race day. We're getting some really, really poor draws these last two races anyway. And Gonzalez Albiol just created the split there. Of course, not really his fault, as there was a lot of guys going backwards. He was the only one in that gap whatsoever. But Kikovchi is done, and he's fading, and we're looking at a small peloton. Yurcevic, Igashin, both, if they're going to have a chance of maintaining their position here, really need to up that effort. We have Narbutas, who is fading. He's struggling here, but we're hanging on. Petrov, Ryabovas, they're doing okay. Petrov this time not struggling so much like he did before. Ryabovas looking like he might be the man today with a +4 race day condition, really the only strong one. Yurcevic and Igashin need to survive these climbs, but like I said, they get easier after these early climbs, and they are recovering their position here, so they've held on. But these guys are absolutely out of it. I think you're very much looking at, here is your finalist. I mean, you got 55 riders chasing 4, and the 4 are already down to 1 minute from a huge gap not long ago. I mean, it was 8 minutes. This is the third race in a row where we've seen a moderately sized group, 6 or 7. There was 7 earlier. Okay, Petrov's woes continue. Let's check on him, see if he's alive still. He is, okay. Alright, he's out of the race though, as he just went way off the back. Holy cow, the Peloton came back together just like that at the base of the climb. Bad luck for Petrov here recently. Yurcevic, Igashin, you can see their lack of climbing on this one. Col de Rosier, 6%, 4 kilometers, 4.5K. So it's not the easiest climb. And the Peloton shrinks down a little bit further. Petrov about 1.5 minutes behind in Group A3, which there's only 3 riders in between. Now it's Group A2, so it's the chase group. Will they make it back up here? Possibly. They're only 1 minute off the back. That's not far behind, is it? So Petrov might still get back in this thing, but we're down to 3. Looking at that, let's see, you have an 80. Rybov's obviously the main guy. Igashin. Well, Igashin's doing better on energy. He's climbing a little bit better, even though Yurcevic let these 3 guys ride solo for a little bit. Let's see what happens here.
Oh my, the guys up front aren't going to be making too many friends today. It looks like the pack has bitten the dust collectively, but the riders would seem to be okay to carry on.
No words. No words can express my disappointment here. Rybovas caught up.
Somebody says that a rider is down. The pack has just reeled in the escape group.
At least he's not hurt. He needs to start making his way forward. Narbutas is caught in between. He's not going to recover. Rybovas with an 80 mountain. Even though he's got a nice hill rating, the 80 mountain is, he can make up a lot of ground on the climbs.
They're moving along at a fair lick. You've just got to hang on.
Okay, and now you go again. At least we got just a little bit of a window there of support. Petrov done. He's going backwards. Yurcevic was dropped. And so we are down to Igashin on top. Of course, Ryabovas was the guy we were riding for. Igashin hanging in there, 55 in the Peloton. But things not looking so good for us. Yurcevic, no. You just sit on. Support Rheabovis if the chance comes up. Rheabovis, though, a lot of ground to make up, but numerous climbs to try to make it up. Our two best guys, two best chances, both go down in crashes. And second race in a row where we've had similar luck. Okay. There's Jurcevic. Here's Liege-Bastogne. He's going to have to push a little harder. He's going to have to use a little bit of that Punchy as we go up the redoubt. Down to 49. So the group shrinks a little bit here. No big split over the top. Jurcevic hanging on, and Petrov is there. Rheabovis is just pushing right on past. But he's using so much energy to climb as fast as he can here. Well, as fast as he can, controlled, measured. Jurcevic.
I think I saw a few riders on the ground.
Let's wait for him. Let him lead out through this minor area.
Swift acceleration by David Godou.
Liege-Bastogne still in the peloton. Seeing attacks at the front. Okay, this is together. Sit on, follow. And just relay for now. Oh, Liege-Bastogne just now dropped. That's a large attack group, but now there's a response here. Cosnefroid, yeah, these guys are chasing it down. Should come back together, but Liege-Bastogne doesn't have much left in the tank with 27k to go. And these guys all need water one last time. So how are we going to pull that one
Watch
off?
out, a team leader is falling behind.
Jurcevic leading the chase group, but they are way behind now. They're 3.5 minutes down.
Several riders are attempting to break away.
Put them on auto, just focus on the front, which of course is pulling away from Liege-Bastogne right now, but he doesn't have the energy to do anything about it. He's got to just try to hang out in the group and hope that the group's still a part of this thing, and at the moment they're not. There's 13 riders away. They regain contact for now. 39. Okay, here comes that final climb, but he does not have much in the tank, and I have a feeling this is going to split in two, and he'll be in the back end of the two.
It's in such percentages that the strongest can create some gaps.
Okay, here comes the attack. Here comes the attack. We are responding. We are responding. 3 riders going clear. This is not about chasing that down. This is about not getting caught in the back group. Climb. Here's the top. And we are going to have just that little bit left. Little bit left. Little bit left. Hang on. Hang on. We didn't get dropped. That's the important thing. But 8 riders went clear. And there was 14 riders behind us. Now 15 here. It's back together. Okay, here's the last climb, but nothing in the tank. So we are going to miss out, aren't we? Liege-Bastogne not strong enough. We needed Rheabovis up here, or Petrov. Petrov didn't have the race day condition, and Rheabovis crashed.
Swift acceleration by David
9k to go. Too late for water now. And too far off the back to contend.
Falling behind. A team leader is falling behind. 5 kilometers remaining.
33 riders ahead of us. 3.8k.
Acceleration
3k. Not a great sprinter, but enough to beat this group. Almost catching up to a group in front of us. But we still have 1k to go, and we didn't catch them. Pitcock takes the win. Romano, Hayter, Godou. Usual suspects at the front. We wouldn't have been at the front, but my oh my. Obviously, Rheabovis without the crash would have been better. Bad luck on this one. Difficult circumstances as we are just not a punchy team. And a 77, 78 hill rating, most years, that's enough. If you're playing on easy or normal difficulty, that's enough. You're going to get some wins. You're not going to be terribly competitive, but you're certainly going to be competitive. early on in this database, on the hardest difficulty, a 77, 78 is enough to squeeze out a win here and there and be just about competitive. But at this stage, this late in this playthrough, the database is absurdly deep now. And when you have 8 to 10 riders at 80 plus rating every single race, and you have an Ethan Hayter who in real life and in other databases is that kind of rider. He's a high 70s kind of rider. And yet here is, he's got like 80 plus flat, and he's like an 82 hill, and he's an 82 stamina resistance, and just absurd numbers. And he can't hardly get a win because there's a dozen of those riders in the field. The database is just so deep to where a Karaman with an 81 mountain should be so good. And yet he's not. He's just struggling to be in the top 10 often. So when your best riders are 77, 78s, they're probably 30th best in most races that they're in. So you can punch above your weight, but punching above your weight, as we saw today, or over these 3 races, our best finish was 15th. We had some bad luck. We had some bad draws. But none of these were race objectives. None of these involved fitness peaks. Except one. Today, Riabovus. Here, he was on a fitness peak. His expected was a +2. He drew a +4. Overall, we had a negative race day condition draw over these 3 races. And so without those bonuses, without those additions, you can see how much we struggled. And the one guy who was looking good crashed. No fault of his own. We had 2 crashes involving 3 riders. I had 2 crashes involving 2 of those 3 riders. What can you do when the luck is not on your side? You need it with a database this deep. It's a tough season. We've had a lot of success this season. We've had a lot of success. We've had a really, really great start to the season. 3 bad days. Whatever. It's nothing. It's okay. It's okay. We endure. We push on. We are approaching the Grand Tours and the bulk of this final season of this series. By the way, the comments started this morning on the episode prior to this one. I'm recording this. I guess they started yesterday. I'm recording this one day ahead of time. Now is a great time to start the discussion with a month and a half till the release of PCM22. Now is a great time to begin that discussion on what would you like to see for my PCM22 main series. Pro Cyclista as well. Let's have that conversation. We're welcome to have both of those conversations here. If you have suggestions on what you would like to see me do with my PCM22 series, now is a great time to pipe up and get in on that discussion. There will be a vote held eventually, but what I'm looking for is different ideas. You know me, I do not like to just go in and play a standard series. A standard series for me gets to be too easy, even on the hardest difficulty. Now, there's one big new feature that is coming up in PCM22, and that has to do with scouting. They have revamped how scouting is going to work, so I would like scouting to be a part of what's going to be involved. Maybe a Scout the World type series. It would play nicely into what we have here. I think if you take a one nation only, that might be too easy, but that is kind of the direction I was headed prior to understanding that that is the big update for the coming year. That's going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.